So I'm going to be covering a lot of the Witcher and Dune universe on this channel, as well as Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, of course, along with Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time, and the Kingkiller Chronicles. But this video, I want to talk about some exciting news about the Dune movie and TV show, and also about the Witcher TV show. So I'm going to start with the Dune news. If you're not familiar with Dune and you want to be, good news. Like I said, I'm going to be covering Dune extensively in the future, most likely starting next week. But for now, just in case you want a little introduction to it, this is what Dune is basically about. Well, Dune is set thousands of years in the future, and humans have spread out through the universe and are on many planets that are ruled by noble houses, or great houses, that answer to the imperial House Carino. These planetary fiefdoms, as you would imagine, have strife with each other. There are house minors as well, but they don't rule a planet. Instead, they're usually loyal to a great house and run a region or one industry on the planet. In this future, humanity avoids advanced computers or thinking computers due to religious prohibition. Instead, they adapt their minds so they will be able to do complex tasks. This is where the spice comes in. The spice is a currency and what gives humanity special abilities in this world, including extending life, improving health, and help those that use it see things before they happen. The spice is used by the Spacing Guild's navigators to safely go faster than light and travel between planets, and for the Reverend Mothers of the Bene Gesserit to access their other memory, the ego and experiences of their female ancestors. Unfortunately, the spice is only found on Arrakis, which is a desert planet with giant sandworms. This is where the House Atreides comes in, because at the beginning of Dune, they've been given control of this planet, and shenanigans ensues. There's a lot more to this universe, a lot more. It's crazy, but that's good enough for now. So we know we're getting a Dune movie in November 2020, which is a little bit away, but in all fairness, they only started filming this past March. But the cast they have for the Dune movie is insane. Oscar Isaac and Jason Momoa. Which, by the way, Jason Momoa recently posted that he's done filming for the Dune movie. And if you don't know, he plays Duncan, a swordsman who is loyal to House Atreides in the movie and in the books. We're told the first book, Dune, is being split into 2 movies, so part 1 will be next November. They don't have part 2 planned yet, but I'm assuming unless part 1 terribly bombs, they'll make the second part. Besides that, we also know that we're getting more video games, online content, and comic books that are about the Dune world and exploring it extensively, so crazy awesome time to be alive. Mostly. And it gets even more exciting because this week we were told that we're also getting a Dune TV series that is directed by Denis Villeneuve. The TV series is going to be called Dune Sisterhood, and it follows a special order of all women called the Bene Gesserit. The Bene Gesserit are a female society that have physical and mental powers that they created or developed through thousands of generations of their program and through specific mental and physical conditioning. These bitches are a little crazy and undergo the Agni, lovely name, which is ingesting a liquid poison gathered through messed up means. I'll go into that in a later video, and they must render it harmless in their body or they die, which means they failed the trial. But if they don't fail, they become a full Reverend Mother and are able to recall all their female ancestor memories. Not their male ancestors though. That psychic space these male memories lie in freak them out because they can't access it. This order has a secret agenda of creating a male version of the Reverend Mother, who they call the Kwisatz Haderach, who will be able to access the female and male ancestor memories. It looks like we're going to be dealing with their breeding program in this TV show and also how they went about controlling the political atmosphere of the known universe, because we're being promised the Bene Gesserit. Given abilities by their mastery of the body and the mind, the Bene Gesserit expertly weave through the feudal politics and intrigue of the Imperium, pursuing plans of their own that will ultimately lead them to the planet Arrakis, known to its inhabitants as Dune. I'm all for witches scheming and breeding to fulfill some political or greater purpose. yes please. And apparently so is Villeneuve, because he shared why he wanted to do a Dune series about them. The Bene Gesserit has always been fascinating to me. Focusing a series around that powerful order of women seemed not only relevant and inspiring, but a dynamic setting for the television series. I actually would really enjoy exploring what different members of the organization are doing, such as who is doing what on this planet, how are they manipulating the political atmosphere over here, but I don't know how crazy in depth it's going to be. I guess it would depend on the amount of seasons and episodes and how they want to set it up. If you're wondering where you can find this TV series, well, Warner Media is making their own streaming service because everyone's making their own streaming service right now. Disney Plus and Netflix are the only two so far that have roped me in, but if that's where you're going to put Dune, you son of a bitches. Their streaming service won't be fully operational, I'm so sorry, I love Star Wars, until early next year, so I'm guessing this TV show will premiere in early 2021. I'm personally excited. There's so many projects that are Dune related, and we know we have to give a hand or a nod to Game of Thrones, which really paved the way for sci-fi and fantasy shows to be a bit more profitable and popular. Now let's move on to the Witcher news, which I am obsessed with this universe, absolutely obsessed. So if you aren't familiar with the Witcher series, here's just a quick little blurb about it. Basically, it follows a Witcher, someone who is a monster hunter with mutations to do it well, named Geralt, in a world that has magic, elves, dwarves, gnomes, and magical creatures, and people that are sometimes worse than monsters. I know, shocker. There's a whole lot of history to it, and it's a really, really great series, which I will start covering very soon, again, along with Dune, I think starting next week. You also may know the video games that the books were based off of. Okay, so now for the news. If you weren't aware, we are getting a Witcher TV series on Netflix, and the star, the person playing the Witcher, is Henry Cavill, which I'm actually really excited about. I liked his makeup in wig tests, but I know there was some blowback about that. And here's Netflix's official description of that show. Geralt of Rivia, a solitary monster hunter, struggles to find his place in a world where people often prove more wicked than beasts. But when destiny hurtles him towards a powerful sorceress and a young princess with a dangerous secret, the three must learn to navigate the increasingly unstable continent together. Today, thanks to a crew member, we now know that the show will premiere in December, which makes sense because Netflix said they were planning on premiering it in the last quarter of the year, so that all makes sense. It's also going to be 8 episodes, and I'm praying that it's so well received, we get more seasons. So if you want to learn more about the Witcher series and the Dune series, stay tuned because I'm going to be covering their crazy, rich, and fun universes. Also Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, of course.